Okay, question 5. This is the first proper tough question, and this technical question is all about technique. Okay, so when you read the question, it says ultrasound and X-rays are waves used in hospitals to create images of inside of the human body. To produce the images below, the waves must enter the human body. In this question, you'll be assessed on using good English, organise information clearly, and using specialist terms where appropriate. Describe the features of ultrasound and X-rays, and what happens to each type of wave as it enters the human body. Okay, so that tells me that there are 4 bits that I need to split this question up into, and that I'll be awarded marks for each of the 4 bits. And those 4 bits are the features of X-rays and ultrasound. That's my first 2. And what happens to each type. That's my next 2. Okay, so I would label up my subsections in that order so that I make sure I hit all 4 of the topics that it's required for my 6 marks, because it will say something on the lines of you've only described X-rays, 1 mark. You've only described X-rays and what they do in the body, 2 marks. And in order to get 6 marks, you've got to do all 4 different things. It's better to do all 4 things reasonably well than it is to do 1 thing really well. Okay, so features of ultrasound. Okay, so it's sound, so we know it's a longitudinal wave. Make sure you spell it correctly, because there's a mark available for that. Okay, the longitudinal waves with a frequency greater than 20 kilohertz. Okay, so that's the first thing you need to know about the ultrasound, and you need to say that this is above human hearing. Now, you don't need to have all of those, but if you had, say, 2 of those, 2 of the 3 there, that would get you the mark. You have to say, to get into the top marks, you really do need to say that the frequency is greater than 20,000 hertz, and you need to have the words frequency and 20,000. But either one of those 2, the longitudinal wave or hearing, would be okay. Okay, so next, I would then go for features of ultrasound. Sorry, of X-ray, sorry. And you'd say that they are, well, you know that X-rays are part of the EM wave spectrum, so you put EM wave. And because they're an EM wave, that means that they're light, which means that they are a transverse wave. Okay, and you want to say that they are high energy, high frequency. And when we did radiation last year, I told you those 2 things because it's very similar to a gamma ray. You might not have remembered this for X-rays. It's understandable. But if you do, if it's coming back to you now, then hopefully that'll help it stick. Which means that they are ionizing. And ionizing means that it knocks electrons out of atoms. It causes atoms to lose electrons. Okay. So something along those lines would do for the description. Again, you probably need like 2 or 3 of these. So if you said they're an EM wave, they're transverse and they've got high energy, that would be plenty. Or if you said they were high frequency, or if you said that they were ionizing, you're better off doing all 4 of the topics than you are doing any one in particular depth. Okay, so the next part is ultrasound in the human body. So that's my third subtopic. I'm going to say that what happens is that they are reflected. So ultrasound in the human body is reflected when going through a medium of one density and into a different medium of a different density. So that's anything along the lines of the fact that you're talking about density, you're talking about boundaries, you're talking about mediums. Okay, that's what they travel through. The other thing that might be handy to know is that they move at different speeds through different mediums. That's again, that doesn't really score. This is the important bit: the fact that it's reflected at different boundaries, and it doesn't matter whether it's soft tissue or hard tissue. Okay. Then when it comes on to talking about X-rays, well, you can see from the picture what's happened to the X-ray in the human body, and you know from your own experience what happens to X-rays in the human body. X-rays can travel through soft tissue such as muscle, fat and muscle, but are absorbed by bones. Okay? And that would score 6 marks. And the reason why it scores 6 marks, even though it's not a great, well, it might score 5 because my English is terrible, you only lose 1 mark for your English. Okay, so you get put into a bracket. You either get point 1 to 2, 3 to 4, 5 to 6, and then depending on your English, you get dropped down to the bottom half of that bracket. So you're better off concentrating on the science than you are on the English. Is because I did it these 4 sections. That's what scores the marks. That's what makes it so. That's what's so crucial, is that you spot all of the different topics that it's trying to get you to do in the question. The other reason why it scores marks is because it's got the key bits in there. Okay. If you only did 2 of these, so for example, if you only described them, you're talking half marks. You're talking 3 out of 6. If you only said what they did in the body, then you're talking 3 out of 6. If you only did 1 of the effects and 2 descriptions, so if you did 3 out of these 4 sections, you're talking 4 out of 6. Okay.